Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Orange Pill Podcast. My name is Graham Elwood, coming to you live from the Orange Pill Studios in beautiful San Salvador, in the heart of Bitcoin country. This is awesome. I love doing the show. We've been doing it about 3 days a week. I've been here like a month now. I've been here a full month doing the show. It's been awesome. Max and Stacy are traveling, so they've been able to Skype in for some of the shows, but they want to just keep it going. They're like, Graham, just keep orange pilling the world. And that's what we're doing. I'm going to a Bitcoin meetup later today in San Salvador that is hosted by Me Premier Bitcoin. I think the Bitcoin meetups are a really critical thing to be a part of. If you're new to Bitcoin, find a Bitcoin meetup in your area and start talking to people at a meetup who have been in the space a lot longer. That's a great way to learn about it. Before we bring on our guest, just please like, share, subscribe, everybody. If you're watching this on my YouTube channel, please go follow the Orange Pill Podcast YouTube channel. If you're watching on Orange Pill, please go over to my YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/Graham Elwood. And of course, follow us at Orange Pill Pod on Twitter. I'm at Graham Elwood. All of our links are scrolling below on all of our Twitter handles, so follow that. I've got new bracelets that Melissa, who's not here today, her mom made for me. They're really cool. This one has a turtle on it, a tortuga, and starfish. It's really cool. So a lot of art happening. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we want to bring our guest onto the show. I believe it's her first time on the show. First time I've interviewed her for sure. I've just been following her online. Her name is Libby. She has a wonderful Twitter at loveisbitcoin21. And hello, are you there? You're freezing up. Are you there? I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
So sorry. My Airbnb now and my internet is kind of breaking up a bit, but I'll try to stay here connected.
Okay. Well, hopefully this will work. Libby, thank you so much for joining us. Oh, you're frozen up again. Let's see.
I'm trying to fix my connection.
Okay. Do you want to? Do you need to log off and then log back on?
Give me a second. I'm going to reconnect.
Okay, cool. We'll be here. All right. Okay. She's going to reconnect everybody and work on her internet. In the meantime, one of the things you can do, our sponsor is Swan Bitcoin. If you go to swanbitcoin.com/orangepill, you get $10. If you sign up at Swan Bitcoin, you get $10 in free Bitcoin. Swan is a Bitcoin-only exchange. They do not do any altcoins, or as we call them here in El Salvador, shitcoins. They don't do any of those. And also Swan has a very good YouTube channel, Swan Bitcoin's YouTube channel, about if you want to get information. So the key, if you're new, is to get as much information as you can, because I know it seems overwhelming. I was new to this. Most people did not get it when they first heard about Bitcoin, or heard and didn't understand the difference between crypto and Bitcoin and all this other stuff. So that's critical, is to just keep. I made like 4 years ago, when the pandemic hit, everything was shut down. I was like, I really have to learn. And I started to make a commitment of watching at least 1 or 2 videos on Bitcoin and crypto every day, just to learn. I just had to get more and more knowledgeable. And in that time, I started learning more about the difference between Bitcoin and crypto. And that's what's critical, because especially all these new people are going to be coming into the space going, oh, wow, it's at 64,000. And then there's going to be these scammers going, buy this stupid shit coin, but give us your Bitcoin for this, or stake it for that, or whatever. And you got to be careful of all those scams. That's what's important. I think Libby's internet has been fixed. So let's give it a shot again. Here she is from the Love is Bitcoin Twitter handle. Libby, how are you doing?
Hi, I just want to thank you for having me here, and also let you know that actually Libby is a character, so she lives in all of our hearts. I'm representing her. We're a team behind this account. We try to do a good job in marketing for many cool Bitcoiner companies, and my job is to give Libby a face, a voice, and to give her life.
That's cool. So what's your real name, or is that a secret?
No, I'm Flo Montoya. I'm actually also a Bitcoin artist, and I also work for like Panties for Bitcoin. I'm really deep into this space, and I really love it. I love working here.
Well, this is the thing that's cool. I obviously there's a lot of tech people and finance people in the space, but I love seeing, and one of the reasons I wanted to reach out is I love seeing more artists come into the space because I think there's a need for it. I think honestly, the best thing I heard about Bitcoin is really it's for anybody and whatever skill set or that you have, there's a way to bring it into Bitcoin and make it, whether you're a cook, whether you're an artist, whether you make clothes or whatever. And I think that's what's really cool. So I always love giving everybody's orange pill story. When did it happen? Where were you? I love hearing what you thought when you first heard it. I love hearing everybody's story because I like superheroes. So to me, it's an origin story of like when you were bit by the spider, like super
Yeah,
spider.
absolutely. I actually got orange pilled by my family. My whole family is Bitcoiner. Um, my dad was the first one. We live in South America, in Chile, and we were used to this moving money around. He works for a German company, so for us this I think it's called remittances, when you move like money from one country to another. So that was a usual problem for us. He's been working for this company for like 20 years, and at some point we heard about Bitcoin before and was like, no, magic internet money, this is, we don't know what this is. Then the second time, thank God, we were more deep into it, and we started learning more. And my dad said, okay, let's try this instead of our regular banking system, the way we used to take the euros and convert them to Chilean shitcoin. And yeah, so and he tried that, and it was easier. You had less hassle, less people to, no one to talk to, like you didn't have to like wait for the banking hours, like they only work from until 2 p.m. in that country, but we are in this country. And he moved the money super fast, and he actually gave himself like a raise, and that was back in like 2017. And so from that point on, he started really learning and studying, and we were all living together in the house with my siblings. And he said, like, it was about the block size war. So he said, like, okay, let's check this out. Let's go. Let's see how this turns out, because we were a bit afraid of that thing, like if Bitcoiners would win or not, like. And he said, like, this is crucial. Like, if Bitcoin wins this war, then we have to keep trying, and we can continue with the system and study it, and we know the outcome, that it actually did win. So at that point, from that point on, we were like very deep into Bitcoin. And for me personally, it made more sense in my head like in 2020. Like, I had more time in the pandemic, and I also had like finished I studied arts. I studied classical arts first, and then arts in the university. So I was finished then, and then it was like, now I have time to really think about this thing, and I just started doing art about Bitcoin, and I continued until now from that point.
That's cool. That's one of the more unique orange pill stories I've heard. Getting orange pilled by your dad, by your family. Like most people are like, they had to orange pill their parents, and their parents didn't get it at first. That's pretty cool. But it makes sense if your father was sending money. And it feels like the pandemic was a lot when a lot of, I mean, I knew about Bitcoin in 2019, kind of understood it, not really. It was when the pandemic hit 4 years ago that I was like, I better learn this. It felt like that a lot of us kind of went, oh, we better figure this out, because they can just seize our money. They can tell us, they can shut everything down, and that to me was like, and I have already, you know, I've told this story before, not in detail, but on the show that I lost my home as part of the housing crisis in the United States. And so I got really crushed by the corruption of the banks and the political system in America. And that's another reason I really wanted to get into, when I started to learn Bitcoin, about what it was. It feels like, was the pandemic, did that help sort of accelerate your desire to learn more about it?
In my case, I mean, I got more time for it, you know, but and we got more afraid. But actually, just before the pandemic in Chile, we had like a lot of strikes, and people were protesting really, really hard. So I think that moment was kind of frightening for us, like this thing can get out of control. And we knew that a lot of people with a lot of money were taking it out of the country. So we were like looking at this, like, I don't know what this is going to mean for our country. The president we have now he's only president because of this protest. Like, he got really into this movement, and now he's the president, and they are very, very, like, very socialist, and all those policies like we don't really like. So we were thinking, like, we need to opt out. We already know about Bitcoin. We are using it. We are saving it. We already understand that you can save in fiat, and everything else loses against Bitcoin. But at that moment was like, this is a revolution. Like, no, it's not only a tool. It's not only very useful and cool and great and intelligent. This is revolution. Like, this is like a really kind of something between a tool and a weapon that you can use to protect yourself, you know. So I think, yeah. And then came the pandemic, and they started printing like money like crazy, and we saw all of that. Yeah, I think it also made our position about Bitcoin like stronger. Yeah.
That's really cool. I love hearing that it's a tool for the revolution. You know, I've heard so many different descriptions of Bitcoin because it's so many things. I've heard that it's like a money counterculture, that it's, yeah, but a tool for revolution is really powerful. I absolutely think it is a tool for revolution, because the central banks and the governments, they you know, they just want to control us and crush us. So how then did you let's go into your journey a little bit as an artist. Like you said, you're a classically trained artist, so you had been doing that before you got into Bitcoin. And when did you have the thought, the epiphany to connect these words? Was it immediate as soon as you saw Bitcoin, you say, oh, I can do Bitcoin art, or did it take a while to kind of figure that out?
No, I'm actually very deep into like technical skills. I do my art like very classically, like with my hands, and I draw, I paint, I do screen prints, you know, like all techniques. And at the beginning, I thought, this is not something that inspires me to do art. Like, this is when I didn't understand Bitcoin, it was like doing art about money. I felt it was like kind of like when the rappers are using the dollar sign chains, you know. I felt that way about it. It was like, I can connect with this. But then when I started like getting into it, I was more interested. I actually am not very technological. Like, I don't understand the code or anything, but I could understand how this could help us. I can understand how this and I love to think about how this can change our society. How this base layer will, if we get this base layer to be good and clean and perfect, we can build on top of it. Now everything is crooked, and you are trying to fix the roof of the house without fixing the floor or the foundations. So it was kind of in that process. And also at that moment, my dad used to, when he was doing this thing like moving his salary around or something like that, he used to write one address. He only had a notebook where he wrote the address because he triple checked it, because we were living on that money. It was like not something you can play with. And he then, when he was going to write another one, he crossed it. And I saw his notebook with like address, and he never reused an address. And I thought that was so beautiful. And at that moment, when I saw this, like this image, I also started understanding this other stuff, like how is this so, like the importance this will have for society. And I started just drawing with the addresses. So in my first drawings, all the drawing was like a bunch of addresses, and I put like more contrast into one letter or one character, and then you could see like an image pop out of this, and started playing with that. It was like very, very like simple, like only what I saw in that moment, and about these tiny things that I was starting to understand, and I think also trying to understand through the art. And now I have moved a bit more far from that kind of things, but these addresses always tend to come back in some of my works, even today.
Well, that's fascinating. And I mean, I love seeing, the couple of Bitcoin only conferences that I've been to. I went to Pacific Bitcoin in Santa Monica, where I live, and well, I'm not there right now, and then adopting Bitcoin here in El Salvador. And the art, like the clothes and the way like Bitcoiners want to express themselves like artistically and individually, and putting the Bitcoin like sign integrated into anything like that's a really cool thing. And so how did you then, so you were orange pilled by your father, it took you a little time to like connect your art and Bitcoin, putting those together. And then how did you go from that to getting together to create Love is Bitcoin? And what is the sort of goal of Love is Bitcoin?
So Love is Bitcoin exists before I started working with them. So this is a business that has like a couple of years, and I have been working with them for like 6 or 7 months. And the goal of this brand is to be a magazine and to do marketing made by Bitcoiners for Bitcoiners. So what we do is, like, if you have a Bitcoin company, a Bitcoin brand, or your startup or whatever, and you want us to promote you, we only ask you if you are Bitcoin only, and we start from there, and we just adapt to whatever the different companies need, and we show your product, or we try to like let people know. And some people I have met in real life, they have told me, like, I love your account because I save it and I use it as like a magazine you could check when you're thinking, I want to buy a wallet, or I want to buy a shirt, I want to buy something from a Bitcoiner. So you go through the site and you see, or I want to buy a present, whatever, and you go through the site and you see all, and we have like kind of a curated place where you can see many Bitcoiner brands. And yeah, that's basically it. Like the main thing we do is marketing for other companies. We also have like a magazine. We also have many writers who write cool articles and stuff. Some things we write ourselves to share with the community. And the third thing is just to be playful, to be a place that you could, if you're starting here, if you're new here, it's a place that is fun. It's very light. We are very silly. We just play around. We just want to repeat the messages in a fun way. Like, we're always telling people to take their coins out of the exchanges and all of this, because you never know who is new in the space. You never know who. I mean, when you have been here a long time, of course you've heard that like 21 million times already. But if you're new, and you might ask, like, why is that important? And it's about awakening that curiosity. And we also try to make it in a feminine way, to embrace like the community as a whole. We play with everything, but we try to also put this feminine energy that we think it's cool, and it's bringing something to the space, you know.
I think it's awesome. And I was just looking through, I mean, I've been following the Twitter, and so I love that the Twitter is very playful and fun. And I really dig that, because Twitter, you know, can be kind of a negative place sometimes, but Bitcoin Twitter seems to be largely pretty positive, especially now that we're back in the 62, 62. I mean, everyone's really like happy, and the halving is coming, which will be like Bitcoin Mardi Gras. And but the thing I've noticed in general is Bitcoiners are largely very positive. I, you know, have been doing a political comedy YouTube show for like 7 years now, and it's pretty dark, man. I mean, like, there's not a lot of positive news coming out of America. You know, it's just like, and I've had to just kind of shift my thinking to like, all right, I'm just going to make fun of this. We're not going to change it, but getting into slowly. It's sort of my journey to becoming more of a Bitcoin. I am a Bitcoin maxi now, 100%. But as I was slowly becoming a Bitcoin maxi, is when I actually, part of my attraction to Bitcoin maximalism is just the hyper positivity. I mean, Stacy Herbert, you know, her and Max are super positive. Stacy's very, very, like, she's hype. She calls it hyper positivity. And I just see the hope and the positivity in the Bitcoin space. There's obviously a lot of hope here in El Salvador because of all the stuff that's happening, and Bukele's done great things, but it's the Bitcoin bubbles all over the world are really impressive. I mean, so before we get to you being in Madeira, and just to clarify, I know I'm kind of going all over the place, but one of the goals of Love is Bitcoin and your art in specific is also to sort of to educate, right? Obviously, you're doing marketing for Bitcoin only companies, but you want to, because especially now, I think as we go into this new bull run and with the halving, there's going to be all these new people floating in. And so there's an opportunity, I think, for us as Bitcoin maxis to try to catch these people as quickly as we can so they don't get scooped up and start buying some shit coins, which happened to me and everyone else. You know, how are you guys specifically trying, and how are you as an artist, and how is Love is Bitcoin trying to specifically use this art and marketing to grab the attention of the people that are brand new?
I think where in Love is Bitcoin, what we do is just we post a lot of memes. We try to we think that humor and fun and to enjoy life, it's important. Like, you cannot be serious all the time. There is a moment for that too. Like, we need you guys that are talking serious stuff, but sometimes the first encounter is not actually the one where, like, you're not like one day walk in the street and then you read the Bitcoin Standard, you know, like the first encounter might be something much more silly and light. So we try to be that person. We try to point the people to all the resources, and we also try to write about it in a very simple way, and about, well, everything, like how is this a revolution. We try to make it from every point of view, you know, like not to segregate people, but to include people. And we also make some a little bit tiny bullying sometimes, which is, I think, might be needed. So if you're shitcoining around, we are going to tell you to stop. But we try to make fun, like to laugh about it. Some people had told us, like, thank you, like you saved me from the shitcoin. Like, I was one step there, and then you were like, I found you. You are doing this, and they said, like, thank you, and now I feel like I'm on the right path. So of course, everyone is different, and not everyone is going to maybe embrace it from this perspective or whatever, but we're trying to do it the way we feel is good and better and suits us better, you know. The people who are doing the other way, it's perfect because we are a lot of humans out there, and everyone's so different. So we have to try to, I don't know, to get to the different people from their own like experiences. Maybe people connect from what they are from where they're coming from. And yeah, we are taking over the fun kind of aspect. We're actually organizing a halving party in Santorini, and yeah, there are still some tickets available, and many people who have bought the ticket, they told us, this is the first Bitcoin event I can bring my spouse. She's like happy to come with me, and that's the great, like, was a huge compliment for us. We were like, we have to do this. People do want fun. People do want, and it might be even easier to orange pill your significant other in a fun environment. And then later on, of course, get to study, learn the deep stuff, and of course, do it.
Where's Santorini?
Santorini is in Greece.
It's in Greece. Oh man, I've never
Very beautiful. It's an island. It's amazing. It's like a paradise on earth. It's super beautiful. Food is amazing. Like everything is amazing there. So that's why it got chosen. And many of the team, like the Lobby's Bitcoin team, are from Greece. So it makes sense for us. Like we have the perfect place. Let's do it here and stuff.
Ooh, if I wasn't in El Salvador, I think I would go to Greece. There's already all these huge parties that are happening here. But yeah, I was going to fly back to Los Angeles, and I was like, no, I got to stay here for the halving party. Speaking of Bitcoin events, and that's good that the Santorini party is fun, because they should have fun aspects to them, because again, like that's how you bring the spouse or the person that doesn't get it. If they're just sitting watching a bunch of long technical presentations, they might be like, oh boy, this is too much. But so now you're in Madeira, which is an island off of Portugal, correct?
Yes.
For Bitcoin Atlantis, and that's just starting today, or what's that like? What's it like there? Is it your first time there? Give us everything.
Yeah, it's my first time here. Like, the island, it's so beautiful. This place is like gorgeous. I want to live here. I really love it. It's amazing, and people are super nice. The conference it is the first time they are making this. This is organized by Free Madeira, and it's going to be wild. It's in a whole stadium. Stadium, is it correct? Yeah, where you play football display. So it's huge, it's beautiful. And for example, I'm presenting some art in the gallery. In this gallery is curated by Fractal Encrypt. So everything is like, so there are so many details. Like it's so cool. And they have everything like online. If you want to see the art and everything, it's on the site. They have a book corner that's amazing. Like I saw it, the merch store. What they did is they are in the merch store. Everyone could bring their stuff. So the merch store is not only from the organizers, but from like so many different people. Like you are going to be able to find so much cool stuff there. That's something new that I've never seen in other conferences. Yeah, I'm having a great time. It starts tomorrow. Today we have like a party probably right now, and then tomorrow conference, and it lasts 3 days.
That's amazing. That's so cool. Yeah, that merch thing, that's such a unique thing. Again, the two conferences I've been to, they just sort of have a hall where people can sort of set up all of their various Bitcoin type products. And when I was at the one in Santa Monica, I got these 2 baseball jerseys and say, I love baseball. So if they say Bitcoin, they're really nice baseball jerseys. I was like, oh man, like I'm a sucker for that. Like, so I love the creativity. And as you were saying, I was just thinking like, I like superheroes. And I was like, if you started making sort of superhero, Bitcoin looking superhero stuff, I'd probably buy the shit out of that. But but and also I'm a surfer, so I really want someone. I want to get a surfboard, a shaper, to make me a Bitcoin surfboard with a big B on it, that's like
I
orange?
I can actually help you with that. I know a guy, but I come from Chile. I live in Chile, so he's doing that's his job. He does this surfboard, but he's also a Bitcoiner. So you could pay with Bitcoin and have a Bitcoiner surfer. And they are very, very cool.
Well, I've never been to Chile, so maybe I need to come down there and do that.
It's very beautiful.
All right, I'm in. And are there Bitcoin bubbles in Chile?
Not so many. I mean, I think my theory is that we kind of had like more as of a stable economy for many years. Like we were doing good, okay in a way. Um, so I guess people tend to search for this kind of options when you're struggling, sadly, or when you are very like in a maybe more even more privileged position where you can like invest and you're looking for that kind of things. And so I think people are attracted or by number go up or by the use case when you are struggling. In Chile we were like in the middle, so I that's my theory that I don't know, but now sadly people are struggling more. The pandemic hit us very hard. These strikes that we had before the pandemic were very, very hard on us. So I have started to see more. I'm trying to join every group that I find, and also maybe we're not the most friendly Latin Americans, so maybe we're not that outgoing maybe. So for example, for me it was like, why would I join this group? I don't know these people. And now I'm like, of course, rethinking this, like, no, wait, we have to do the movement. Like someone has to do it. Like if no one does it, then it doesn't happen. And I think people are coming on to this idea, and it's getting a bit more attraction, and yeah, but it's very special. There was a weird thing that happened in Chile. So it's one of the only countries where all the banks got together behind doors, of course, and they all closed the exchanges accounts from one day to another. So today the exchange was working, and the other day the accounts were closed. So the exchanges couldn't operate. So what happened is they started a lawsuit saying this is illegal. And luckily, the judge said, okay, in the meantime, we decide if this is illegal or not. You have to open the accounts. What happened is we got a lot of news where people thought, okay, this Bitcoin stuff is clearly like a scam. Like, look at this trial they're having, and the banks are closing the accounts. It got a really, really bad image. And also, not any like this closed the opportunity for companies or new companies to start, because no bank would open a new account. They were forced to open to these guys because they already had these accounts, but no new one could enter the ecosystem. So, and this trial has been going on for like, I don't know, like 3 years or more. I think it's just now it's ending, and probably the exchanges will win. But this created a really, really weird atmosphere in the country, I think, and it also had maybe an impact on why there is less adoption in Chile.
Oh, wow. So what efforts are you trying to do to spread adoption in Chile, considering you're dealing with all of these issues?
Yeah, myself, well, first I'm trying to build my like brand. I started this year working for a Bitcoin company, so I'm trying to be more like only Bitcoin and more independent, because it's hard when you're an artist. So I was very focused on that. Like I need people to see my art, and if I get more opportunities, I can do something. I would love to do a project. I'm trying to build it, but I don't know how to make it that can mix this kind of art and call of attention with education. So I would love to have like what they're doing with my first Bitcoin stuff and something like that. But of course, I would have to find the finance for doing that. So
Sure.
I'm trying to be more strong in my position and to connect with the other Bitcoiners, with other people. I'm trying to get into, I don't know, like every meetup I see, like trying to connect with real people. In the meantime, where I'm trying to work in this other stuff that I think might be something, because the other day, for example, a friend of mine, she was walking down the street, so there was this like how do you call when they sell like the vegetables in the street, like it was Sunday in the morning and it was like a
Like a farmer's market or something
it's
like that.
yeah, yeah, I always forget that, the farmers market, yeah, something like that. And it's like way more informal, so people don't give they don't pay the taxes, they just sell you in the street, something like that. And so she took a picture and she sent me the picture, and it was like this lady, she said like, accept credit card, accept cash, I accept Bitcoin. And that's something really new happening in Chile. That's not, you can't see that everywhere. So I want to actually be able to go to these people, to start talking, to start and yeah, like trying to help, because I know this would help their position so much. Like people who are living on a paycheck, like month to month, they cannot invest. These are the people that are getting more poor and poor and poor, and the people who have more money are protected. The system protects them.
Yeah.
So I would love to do something like that. I have a lot of ideas. I have to like focus and then start building. But yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting when if you ever get a chance, if you haven't already, and to anyone out there watching or listening, go to the Bitcoin Beach podcast. That's Michael Peterson, and he really talked. I mean, that's where they started the circular economy here in El Zonte, which then helped spread around the country, which then helped, Bukele learned about it, and that was one of the beginnings of how then El Salvador made it legal tender. And I think that learning that the little circular economies is the key. The little market where, your friend starts taking Bitcoin, and then the other merchant across the street, and they all start accepting it, and people start knowing it. And also then you advertise this to the Bitcoiners, because what you're seeing in El Salvador is the best example, is there's now like Bitcoin tourism. And there's people are like, I first came here in June, and I rented a surfboard with Bitcoin, and I just wanted to do that experience. I wanted that experience, and then there's a Telegram group, and I think there's the Orange Pill app, and I forget, there might even be like an app or a website where you can just start listing globally all the places that take Bitcoin. And that's kind of key for people to see like how much this is spreading. Even the town I'm staying in, El Tunco, which is a little surf town, and it's about 15-20 minutes away from El Zonte. When I first came here in June, El Tunco didn't have as many stores that accepted Bitcoin. And now that I'm here in February, I'm already noticing more. There's a gym that opened up that takes Bitcoin. There's several different little coffee shops and restaurants that are now taking it that didn't used to. I've even seen little street vendors that sell little bracelets and necklaces and tourist stuff like this. And they have a little sign like your friend has that says Visa, MasterCard, and Bitcoin. And I'm like, whoa, okay. Like this is, and I think that's the key, I think, is to just like focus on that one, have your friend focus on that one market and get more people in that market in Chile to start doing it. And that seems to be what's working. I don't know. That's what, because like they did that in Berlin, El Salvador, which is now they're calling it Bitcoin City. And that is like in 9 months, they've got 100 merchants in this little town up in the mountains in the eastern part of El Salvador. It's like amazing. And it's again, it's like an organization like Me Premier Bitcoin. But I think those or an organization like that is helpful in doing that. So, because one of the reasons I'm here in El Salvador is I'm a comedian and a filmmaker and a director, right? So I've worked in Hollywood for a long time, and I noticed at these Bitcoin conferences, it's mostly tech and finance people, right? As you know, as an artist. And I think artists are probably more resistant or less willing to, or artists don't typically like dive into computer stuff and finance stuff, right? We tend to just be like, oh, I'm an artist, man. I'm just gonna, whatever, be an artist. And we'll worry about that later, where it's like, there's a saying, it's called show business. You better focus on that second word more, because it's more important. You're not, if you just focus on the show part, you might not eat. So you need to focus on the business part. So one of the reasons I'm down here, one of the reasons and having conversations with Max and Stacy, and they were like, come down here, is I want to get more artists into the Bitcoin space. So how do we do that as artists? I'm curious what you have to say about that.
I think that the first step is to, what I try to do, for example, with my personal account as well, is to celebrate others. I think I don't believe really. I know that competition is important, like it's something that can lead you to grow, but I think competition must be with yourself, not maybe with others, especially in arts. So I believe more in collaboration. And what I try to do is, when I find someone that's doing art and I try to celebrate their talent, I try, even many times it's something that's really, really different from what I do or from what I would like hang in my house. It doesn't matter, because someone else might like it, Art is subjective in that way. Like, we can appreciate beauty and maybe we can talk about what beauty is, but sometimes we don't care. Like, I know this thing is very ugly, but it reminds me of my grandmother. Who cares, So it's also mixed with your emotions. It's not just rational. So I try to celebrate talent. I try to share whatever I can find, whatever other people are doing, and I think that's key to be more collaborative. And also, like, doing collaborations. I have done collaborations with other artists, and I'm always looking forward to a new collaboration. And I think that two brains think better and are more creative than one. And I think with Lobby's Bitcoin, we try to do that as well. Like, of course, we have to build this as a business, but sometimes we know that someone, like an artist, might not be able to pay for the marketing or whatever, and we're like, doesn't matter, your stuff is amazing. Bitcoiners need to see this. Bitcoiners want to see this, because that's what happened. Then some people see it and they say, like, wow, I have never seen this before. This is amazing. This person has so much talent, and thank you for showing it. So I think, just talking about what other people are building and trying to lead them to someone who would enjoy it and who would appreciate it. And that might also be like, maybe bring hope to others who are like, no, I cannot do art about Bitcoin because nobody knows me or whatever. Because we all started like that. Like, I have been working here for like 4 years, and of course nobody knows me. It doesn't matter. You do your thing, and you go out there and you try to show it, and you build, and you collaborate, and you hope for the best.
Well, I really I want to focus on more Bitcoin artists. I mean, I really want to do that. It's one of the goals why I'm down here, and as we look to expand the Orange Pill, that's one of the shows I want to do, is a show that focuses on artists, and because there's a lot of great artists just in this country, and I think this country hasn't, because of 4 decades of gang violence and civil war, people haven't been able to. It's hard to express yourself artistically when you just are every day as a battle for survival, right? And so now that it's free and open, I think, and throughout history, you see, like, East Berlin, when the wall came down and Berlin, Germany united, Berlin then became this artistic hotspot, as it was in the 20s and in the 30s before the Nazis. It became that again. And I think that's I think art is key, as you say, because there's a lot of people who, like, technical people, finance people, they're usually quicker to kind of get Bitcoin. But as you say, we have to cast a wide net for Bitcoin adoption. And it's like what you guys are doing with the Love is Bitcoin Twitter feed. You never know, someone's just scrolling through Twitter and they see some funny meme and they go, wow, that's hilarious. What's this Bitcoin stuff? Maybe it's a piece of art. Maybe there's an art gallery. It's so cool that Bitcoin Atlantis that you're at has like an art gallery in it. Like that is significant. And I hope more Bitcoin conferences have art galleries, because you never know when, and I hope then, this is something to just think about, is like, can we get an art exhibit at a mainstream gallery, like a Bitcoin art exhibit? I bet you when Bitcoin hits 100,000, some galleries are going to be asking for that shit. When they see 100 grand, they go, hey, wait a minute, maybe we need some of this Bitcoin. But yeah, I'm just throwing out ideas out there. Anyway, what else was I going to ask? I guess I know it's getting a little late there, so, and I'm sure you want to go to some parties. What would you say to somebody who's new, who's watching this for the first time and doesn't know that much about Bitcoin and has just stumbled across this video and for whatever reason, what would you say to them?
Don't get intimidated. There is a lot that you need to learn, but take it easy. It's not going anywhere. It's only going to grow and be here forever. So take your time, and just try to connect to people, and of course, then do your homework and study. Because if you just buy Bitcoin but don't understand it, I'm sorry, but you're going to lose whatever you buy. That's what I've seen. Like my friends are like, oh, I sold and I will buy when it's more cheap, and then they never get the amount of sats they initially had. So don't do that. Don't do shitcoins. You don't need that. You don't need the casino. You just need your freedom. This Bitcoin is freedom. Bitcoin is hope. Like, what else do you need? You don't need the casino. And it's revolution, and it's for everybody. You don't need to understand it. Like, people, you send emails, you use your apps, whatever. You don't know how that things work. I don't know how that works, and I use it. So you don't need, if you're not technological, don't be afraid. You don't need to know that stuff. You just need to know why this matters, why this is important, and how this can help you in your situation.
That's great. I mean, we're literally talking, I'm in El Salvador and you're in Portugal, and we're talking on video, and I don't know how that's working. I don't know. I know it's the internet. I know there's a camera and internet, but I don't know how the fuck this works. I have no idea. So I'm not going to argue. I don't understand how an airplane works, but I get on them all the time, and I just, I know I hope they're gonna work, knock on wood. That's about it. That's all I can do. It's just like, and get on. So, but yeah, if you're watching this, just buy some Bitcoin, $2, whatever, $5 a month, $10 a month. Learn about what a cold wallet is. That might take you a little time to figure out. Sounds a little intimidating at first, but that's okay, because you don't want to keep it on the exchanges, because the exchanges could freeze your Bitcoin just like a bank could take your US dollars or your euros or whatever. So just start learning about that, and support artists, support independent artists. And
if you have been here for a while, then yeah, you have to check out the art space, because it's getting wild. Yeah.
Let me ask you this before you go. What sort of new art or new trends are you seeing in the Bitcoin art space? That you just said it's getting wild. What are you sort of seeing that's getting you exciting? That's happening?
Yeah. Every material that you can think of, people are working like myself in a traditional way. We're trying to interpret ideas. I always bring up classical art, but then you see other people like working with anything you can think of, sculpture, drawings, and things that I wouldn't know how to call. And with no, it's beautiful. It's for like, there definitely is something you like. Like I couldn't think that you would go to this, for example, this show in Bitcoin Atlantis, and you wouldn't find anything that you don't like, because it's so much variety, like it's so much different stuff and a lot of talent, and you can see the love, the passion people are putting into this, that this is not people doing art to sell, to get your sats. Like I can feel that this is not like I'm trying to scam you and take your sats and I'm going to draw just a Bitcoin B. This is people, this is like their life. Like you can see that, like the amount of work and love, it's beautiful.
Yeah, it is beautiful. I was at the Bitcoin farmers market in El Zonte on Sunday. And so there's like everything. There's people selling books, there's people selling meat, there's people, this couple was from the Middle East, was making falafel, which, there's not a lot of falafel in Latin America. I'm just going to tell you that right now. So, and everyone was doing something with their heart. Everyone was doing something with their. I'm an artist, and I know the difference between. I work in Hollywood, so I know the difference between commerce, selling something that just you need to make money. I've hosted game shows. I did those for money. I'm not going to lie to you. And I know what it's like to do art that you care about. I've done theater where I didn't get paid a nickel, and it was like beautiful. And so, I would love to see, like you say, Bitcoin is revolutionary. I think Bitcoin is also romantic. It's a romantic thing. Someone needs to write some beautiful poetry.
Absolutely.
Someone needs to write something that's like, I'm a romantic, I'm a hopeless romantic. That's who I am. And so I'm would love like some Bitcoin art that inspires people, makes people fall in love, makes people whatever. Like that's what it should be. That's what art should do. It should make I saw the Mona Lisa for the first time. I'm just going to say this. And everyone's like, oh, it's crowded. And there's all these tourists. I wept when I saw the Mona Lisa. It was all these tourists. Everyone's out there, taking their selfie. I didn't care. I saw this piece of art and I was like, it was October. It was a year and a half ago. It was the most beautiful thing in the world. So somebody can do something like that with Bitcoin. I'm sorry, you were about to say something.
No, I just wanted to tell you that my last piece, not the one I'm showing here, but the last one I auctioned, actually was called Bitcoin is Love. And it's talk about what you're telling, because this is love for humanity. So how can of course art has to embrace that too. Like of course there is, we can talk about Bitcoin all day, and there are so many aspects that you can get interested in. But I cannot see that you're not. I mean, how can you not talk about how this is so beautiful and so, like love, like selfness, like And I'm also wanted to mention that I've been talking to people, like getting to know other people, other talents. So many people doing music, so many people writing like beautiful stuff. It really is getting wild.
It's amazing because Bitcoin, when you get back to the fundamentals, right? You're defeating the central bank. So what do the central banks do? War. They pollute the environment. They crush the individual. So if Bitcoin is the antithesis of that, then Bitcoin can literally save the planet and save the human race. So is that not a romantic thing to be a part of?
Absolutely.
Sounds like it to me. Well, this has been a fantastic conversation, and I hope to speak with you more. And really, I'm so envious of your time there in Madeira. Have a blast. Tell people I said hello. Do you have any plans to come to El Salvador?
Well, my dad said that when Bitcoin hits 125K, he will invite the whole family to El Salvador. So I'm just waiting for the pump, and we'll see each other there. No, but hopefully, yeah.
Well, I'm going to hold you that. The minute it hits 125, I'm going to hit you. I'm going to direct message you. I'm going to put this on Twitter and say you set this on the show live. So I want to see a plane ticket receipt when it hits 125.
Yeah, no, believe me, my brother is waiting for the moment, and he will hold my dad accountable for what he promised. So we'll be there.
All right, that's wonderful. And so tell everybody where they can follow you online and see your artwork and Love is Bitcoin and all of that.
Yeah, we're at Love is Bitcoin 21 in Twitter, and my personal account is flamontoya _ And there you can find our websites. In Love is Bitcoin, we have many coupons, like with discounts for all the companies we work with. So it's a great place to go shopping for your favorite Bitcoin brand. And in my own account, well, you can see my art, you can see my website, and yeah, enjoy.
Well, thank you, Flamontoya. I hope I pronounced that name correctly, but it's a beautiful name. And
Thank you so much.
you have a wonderful time in Portugal, and muchas gracias, and we will speak with you soon.
Gracias. Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Ciao, ciao. All right, everybody. Wasn't that beautiful? Like, we can talk. That's the thing I love about the show. We've talked technical stuff. We talk banking, talk Wall Street, and then we have an artist on. That Bitcoin is romantic. Like, how beautiful is that? That was just gorgeous. So speaking of supporting artists and supporting the show, this show, you can support it a multitude of ways. We're on the Fountain app, which the Fountain app is a really cool app. It is for supporting podcasts with Bitcoin. So you can go to this show, the Orange Pill podcast, and give us sats. Also, my other podcast, Government Secrets, is on Fountain, so you can support that with sats. And that's how, like what we were just talking about, supporting it. And of course, you can go to swanbitcoin.com/orangepill, and that's how you can, if you use that, swanbitcoin.com/orangepill, you can get $10. If you open up an account, you get a free $10 in Bitcoin. So it's a great way to get free Bitcoin. And Swan is a Bitcoin-only exchange. It's why I like it. It's a Bitcoin-only exchange, because I was one of those people that fell when I first got into Bitcoin 4 or 5 years ago. I was like buying altcoins and this and that and blah, blah, blah. Bitcoin only, baby. Boom, orange pill. America will be left in the dust. They will refuse to accept Bitcoin until it's too late. Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's our show, everybody. That was pretty cool. Like, share, subscribe. Make sure you follow the show at Orange Pill, at Max Kaiser, at Stacy Herbert, and I am at Graham Elwood. Follow us all. And that is really the best way to do, all those analytical ways to support our show. And hit the like button. And of course, if you just tuned in, don't worry. This will stay up, the full show. And then we also will break each episode. We break it up into clips. I guess Swan is not an exchange. Swan Bitcoin is the best Bitcoin only on-ramp. That's a great way to put it. It is a Bitcoin only on-ramp. It's the best way to buy Bitcoin using your fiat. Swan also encourages you to self-custody. Like, they don't want to hold on to it. They want you to self-custody. So they have a Swan IRA. An IRA is a thing in America. It's an individual retirement account. Talk to your accountant about this. But if you're it's a tax deferment thing. So, like, I'm self-employed, so my accountant always has me take a certain amount of that's allowable from my income and put it into an IRA, and then you're taxed later when you retire. So I had a US dollar IRA over the summer, and it wasn't a lot of money, but it was losing money. And I converted it to a Bitcoin IRA, and now it's like doubled, almost tripled in value. Because I did it over the summer when Bitcoin was at like 25,000 or whatever, maybe 29, something, under 30. And now we're in the 60s, so I've more than doubled it. So you can roll over an old IRA, you can do all this kind of stuff. But talk to your accountant. Sorry for the correction. It's just that exchanges benefit from selling your sats, where Swan encourages you to save. No, you're right. Thank you for that clarification. No, I very much appreciate that. And that's how you conduct yourselves in the chat. You just give me a clarification. It's all good. Stay polite in the chat. You're more than welcome to discuss or even debate in the chat, but don't get rude. You start getting insulting and saying insulting things. Everyone here is pretty cool. But when I see any of those insults, you just get blocked. I just boom, and I will never unblock you. So just stay polite. It's okay to disagree, but if you get rude, you're done. Real simple. And thank you for being very polite with our guest. Thoughts on Solana coin, bought it at 30. Should I still hold it or sell and buy Bitcoin? Here's what I do with the majority of my altcoins. I just even started last year when they were all in the tank. I converted them to Bitcoin. A couple of them I cashed out because I needed some dollars, but the majority of it I converted to Bitcoin, knowing that eventually you'll get your money back. So I would convert it to Bitcoin because Bitcoin is going to crush all of them. Because this is not paid financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. I have to legally say that, but I'm just telling you, convert your shit coins. Even if you're like, oh, I'm at a loss in my shit coin right now, and you're hoping for it to pump back up. It might never. It might, but it might not. Most of the shit coins, they have one pump. Look at their all-time chart. There's usually one pump. That's when you know it was a pump and dump. They went up, the owners took the money and split, more than likely. So I'm just going to use round numbers. Let's say you bought $1,000 in Solana or whatever shitcoin. You bought $1,000 in Solana, and now it's only worth 600. And you're like, I really want to get that $400 back. I'm going to wait till Solana goes up, and then I'm going to cash out or whatever. Maybe that could happen. It could not. If you convert that $600 into Bitcoin today, eventually you'll get your money back. Because eventually that you buy $600 worth of Bitcoin today, eventually it'll be worth $1,000, $1,200, $1,500, $2,000. Eventually it's going to. Look at the 4-year cycles. We're going into a bull run. Look at it. And convert it to Bitcoin and never sell it if you don't have to. I understand people have bills and I get that. But if you can at least just keep hodling as much Bitcoin as you can, like Michael Saylor says, don't sell it. And I understand everyone's personal financial situation is different. Maybe, oh, I got kids in college. I need to sell a little bit of my Bitcoin. I get it. You can take lines of credit against it. Those are all like personal decisions you need to make. But I would take it, put it to Bitcoin and hold it, man. Because when Bitcoin goes to 500,000, you're going to be like, holy shit, what was I doing fucking with that Solana bullshit? You know, that's what you're going to say. Are we going to pass 200K for this bull cycle? Well, that's a great question. Again, if Max was here, he could answer this more clearly, but I will paraphrase what Max has said on this show within the last month. If you look at how much money is pumping into the ETFs and what the price of when the gold ETF happened, if you follow that similar chart, the gold ETF to what the institutional money is coming in. I'll show you this. I'll show you this right now. This is in CoinDesk, right? Which is a crypto news. They're like the Bloomberg of crypto, right? Bank of America, Wells Fargo to offer spot Bitcoin ETFs to clients. This is from Bloomberg. They took this story from Bloomberg. CoinDesk reported on Wednesday that another Wall Street giant, Morgan Stanley, might soon offer its clients exposure. So you've got Morgan Stanley, Bank of America, Wells Fargo to join BlackRock. That is a massive amount of what that means. Those companies, they're going to offer they currently have, I don't know the number, Max would know this number, you could look this number up. Those banks currently are managing hundreds of billions of dollars in clients' investment portfolios. Even if 2% of them, 3% of them, of those clients say, oh, and they're hedge fund managers, and these investment managers are going to say, we want to get you into this Bitcoin ETF. They'll go, okay, play it safe. Just put 2 to 5%, 2.5 to 3% of my portfolio into a Bitcoin ETF. That is a huge amount of money that is going to drive the price up. That's what's going to get the price. And that's why Max Keiser says 220 in play. Yesterday, Max and Stacy were on the show yesterday. They said there was something like $7 billion has been traded in Bitcoin ETFs. Almost $8 billion has come in just through the Bitcoin ETF. That's one of the reasons the price has like been bouncing up at between 62 and 64. I don't even know what the price is right now. It's probably could be more than that. So that's why it's going up over 200,000. Don't ask me. Talk to Max and Stacy and Michael Saylor and those people who And just watch the institutional money people that are really looking at this ETF with a fine-tooth comb. Just even 4 years ago, even 2 or 3 years ago, there was less than $1 trillion in the market cap of Bitcoin. Was it like 500 billion or 600 billion? Now we're up over $1 trillion. So if more money comes in, we go from 1 trillion to 2 trillion, or even just 1 trillion to 1.5 trillion. That's a huge amount of money, which will drive the price up. I think Jeff Bezos is planning on buying Bitcoin. I don't know. I don't know what Bezos is going to buy, but he's probably thinking about it because he sees the value in it. All these rich, yeah, somebody claims Bezos already has. I don't know. I can't verify that. I don't know yes or no if that's true or not, but I wouldn't be surprised. There's no way these billionaires are not, if they're not already in the space, or like, get me in right now, because they see it. They see it happening. But great question. Great question. All right, gang, that's our show. Great questions, everybody. Like, share, subscribe. And we will be back on Monday. We usually do, we always try to do 3 days a week, usually Monday, Wednesday, Friday, although this week we did Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, because I'm doing the Bitcoin meetup tonight in San Salvador and another Bitcoin meetup tomorrow night in El Zonte. If you're in El Zonte, come to it's once the first Friday in El Zonte, and it's hosted by me, Premier Bitcoin. They've asked me to speak tomorrow, which is really cool. So that's why there's no show tomorrow. But we usually we go live 3 days a week at 3 o'clock Central Time, which is the time here in San Salvador, which is 4 o'clock Eastern and 1 o'clock Pacific. Now, just a little heads up, in 2 weeks, I think, the United States changes its clocks, does the daylight savings thing. To my knowledge, El Salvador does not change its clocks. So we will then go from Central Time to Mountain Time. But we will be then, that'll put us at 5 o'clock. It'll put us an hour later than what we were doing. Even though it'll still be 3 o'clock here in El Salvador, it'll mean we will be starting at 2 o'clock Pacific and 5 o'clock Eastern. Do you see the loss of the exchanges after the next halving? Yeah, it could be. I mean, the exchanges, that's why I just use exchanges as on-ramps. So I have a site, I post content on this website called Rockfin, and they pay us in their crypto token. It's a token, it's an altcoin. So I get paid in that, and I then convert that to Bitcoin immediately. Sometimes I have to convert it to fiat to pay some bills, but for the most part, so I need an exchange to convert. I know some people that work for crypto companies and they get paid in like USDC, and so then they have to convert it to Bitcoin or whatever. So, but I don't keep much money on the exchanges at all, very little. I move it to the Lightning wallets to pay for stuff here. You use the Lightning wallets to pay for stuff in El Salvador. But then the bulk of it, put it on a cold wallet. Put that wallet in a safe place. Put your seed for your 12-word or whatever, however many word seed phrase separate from your wallet. Yeah, just get more knowledgeable about that. Do you think Coinbase would crash again and people could lose their Bitcoin there? Great question. Bitcoin went down, or Coinbase went down yesterday. This is another reason why you want to have accounts set up on multiple exchanges. If you're going to have to do conversions and stuff like I'm having to do or whatever, you want to be set up on multiple exchanges. But again, it's another reason to not keep it. If you're not doing any exchanging or trading, just buy it and get it off. That's why Swan is the best, because it's just an on-ramp. If you don't need to convert it, if you've got shit coins, convert them to Bitcoin and get them off of the exchanges and get them on a cold wallet. Just get out of there, because more of these exchanges are going to go down. There's going to be more scams. There's going to be another FTX thing probably. I mean, I just don't even risk it. When Max and Stacy came on my other show, Political Vigilante, which was April of 2021, and at that time I was staking coins on BlockFi because I didn't know any better. And they're like, not worth it. The interest you're making, they could just crash and steal it. You don't own that. If you don't have your keys, you don't own the coins. And I was like, oh, I pulled it all off of BlockFi and put it on my cold wallet. I'm glad that I did, because then a year later, when the FTX thing happened, BlockFi was tangled into that. You don't know what these companies, exchanges are doing behind closed doors. You don't know what deals they're making with the corrupt people of the world. You don't know this. And a lot of people had their Bitcoin and other stuff stuck on BlockFi. I had a little bit stuck on there. I eventually got it back, but this way it's not worth it. Buy it, put it on a cold wallet, and hang on to it. That's the best thing to do. It's a shitcoin casino. Yes. Yeah. Get out of Coinbase. If you don't, and just don't get into the day trading, gambling, and it's up and down. Just buy it and hold it. Just buy it and hold it. Buy Bitcoin and tuck it away. That's all you got to. That's all you got to. That's all you got to do. You don't have to worry about the bang, boom. Just boom, 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 boom. Dollar cost averaging. And you can set, like Swan does this. You can set like $10 a month, $50 a month, whatever you can afford. Just buy at the same time every month. Then you're not worried about the prices doing this and that. You're just stocking it up, stacking sats. That's all you want to do. That's all you want to do. All right. Don't use exchanges as banks, because just like a bank, they can, your bank can just go out of business today. There can be a run on the banks. And if you have money in your regular banking account, your fiat bank, they can just go buy, it's gone. Buy. That can happen. That could happen on a crypto exchange. All right, guys. Great questions. When exchanges do shady stuff, it makes Bitcoin look bad because people that don't know. Yeah, exactly. But, how can you convince your friends and family? Turn them on to shows like this. Turn them on to the Swan Bitcoin channel. Turn them on to podcasts that just are Bitcoin maxis that really explain it in clear, simple terms. And show them the people like Michael Saylor. Show them these big institutional companies that are doing Bitcoin. Because then it doesn't sound like a bunch of wacky people on YouTube. It's like money people. Anyway, gotta run. Thank you so much. We'll be back Monday, 4 o'clock Eastern, 1 o'clock Pacific, and 3 o'clock in El Salvador. Thank you so much. Buy Bitcoin, get it off the exchanges, put it on a cold wallet. Thanks for watching. Like, share, subscribe. Support us at Fountain app. Support us at swanbitcoin.com/orangepill. And thank you all so much.